Good morning, students. Today I'm here to talk to you about the film Into the Wild and Penn's portrayal of the quest for happiness and personal fulfillment. The film Into the Wild is based on a true story about a young man, Chris McCandless, leaving behind society's expectations to explore the Alaskan wilderness. Chris donates his savings to the Oxfam charity and begins his journey through America, ultimately leading him to Alaska. Through the film, we see him meet new people, enjoy his freedom, and find his true happiness in the wilderness. Penn found love in this book when he was looking around in a bookstore and was captivated by its cover photo, showing a rundown bus in Alaska. Later, he found out that a man who went by the name Alex Supertramp, also known as Chris McCandless, had been residing here for 4 months before he passed away. The film contains many ideas about relationships, identity, nature, and rejection of society. Something I found interesting about the film is the way Penn combines all these different ideas into one movie. Throughout this film, Chris actively rejects society and the expectations that come with it. One scene that shows this is when Chris is beginning his adventure, and when he gets far enough from his hometown, he burns his car and the little money he has left. This scene is filled with metaphors and shows a deep meaning. Just before Chris sets lights to his car, he removes his number plates and leaves them on the ground. He then puts his remaining money on the floor and burns it as he walks away. This scene highlights Chris leaving his old life and rejecting the things society has given him. A low-angle shot is used here to emphasize him walking away as we see the remains of his belongings on the ground. This film also contains many ideas about Chris's relationship with his family. At the beginning of this film, we don't see many problems with Chris's family, but as we get deeper into the film, we see that this family is far from perfect. At one point in the film, Corinne, his sister, does a voiceover and expresses that she and her brother saw violence we were forced to witness. She describes it as theatre, like putting on a show, but behind was a dysfunctional family. Penn also uses many flashbacks in this film, which are often in slow motion to create a dreamlike effect. Through the voiceover and flashbacks, Penn shows the emotional trauma. Chris and Corinne experienced and what contributed to Chris deciding to leave. This film also has many ideas about identity and the beauty of it. Chris struggles with finding himself, and after graduating college, he feels disconnected not only from society, but from who he truly is. By cutting ties with his family, giving away his money and changing his name to Alexander Supertramp, Chris tries to start fresh and build his identity on how he actually feels. There is a scene where Chris decides to buy a canoe and paddle down the Colorado River alone with nobody helping him. There is no dialogue in this scene, just Chris sitting in a boat looking around him. As he's sitting in this boat, he's exploring what it means to live without limits. The scene uses natural lighting, which makes it hopeful, showing Chris excitement and sense of purpose. Penn tells this story not just to show Chris running away from society, but to make us reflect on bigger ideas, like what it really means to be free and where happiness comes from. Connections or isolation. This is shown from the use of wide-angle shots that capture these beautiful landscapes Chris travels through. This film shows the beauty of nature and the freedom of being out in the wilderness, but it also shows the cost of this, loneliness and danger. Penn does a great job of challenging the audience to reflect on what happiness really is. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you learned something valuable. Whether it was the pressure of society, the importance of connection, or that sometimes it's okay to step away for a bit.